News Radio KMAN weather.
Right now in Manhattan, 54 degrees, wind gusting as high as 21 miles out of the northeast, pretty steadily at around 13. Tonight, mostly clear and a low around 29 as we head into tomorrow. Mostly sunny skies and a high near 53, and the wind from the past couple of days dying down to just around 5 miles an hour out of the south. Mostly cloudy and a low around 34 tomorrow night. Then on Thursday, partly sunny and a high near 58. The game is next on News Radio KMAN.
KMAN Daily Weather is presented by Fox Business Systems. How much does downtime cost you and your business? Don't let another second go by. Call Fox Business Systems at 776-1452.
The following is an exclusive presentation of News Radio KMAN, your home for K-State athletics. It's game time. This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
You know, I know I'm one day late on this, but, and you know, Wildcat Insider, that is a K-State only show and a Big 12 only show. Super Bowls are much easier to watch in blowout fashions when it's not your team that is just getting slapped around for 4 quarters, I must say.
That's a very true statement. It was a much enjoyable experience this year. I know a lot of people walked away from that game saying, oh, it was boring, oh, it was blah, blah, blah. I walked away from it thinking, man, I wish Patrick Mahomes is playing in the Super Bowl for one, but two, I'm glad that wasn't my team getting blown out again.
The AFC, I think they could have used a little bit of Chiefs in their lives this year, especially, I mean, the wild card was fantastic. There were some really good games. Jacksonville and Buffalo was fantastic. The only really sleeper was the Steelers just getting rocked by the Texans in the first round. But other than that, I mean, again, Bills, Jags, we mentioned that one. Patriots, I'm blanking on who they played. Patriots, Chargers was at least relatively enjoyable in the first round. Going back to the wild card, this is like a month and a half ago at this point. And then the fourth game, I don't even remember at this point. But from divisional round on, wasn't the greatest football in the world. I mean, Broncos-Bills was entertaining, went to overtime, but and you had Josh Allen with the 4 turnover game, and he wasn't great. And Bo Nix actually had his moments in that game, and that one was an entertaining one overall. But then you had to watch C.J. Stroud just hand the Broncos or the Patriots that game on a silver platter. Then you had to watch Jarrett Stidham in an AFC Championship game in the Big 26, and then man, it felt like you were watching a rerun of last year's Super Bowl, except this time the Patriots defense actually kept New England in that game for quite a while, but eventually a couple of Drake May turnovers, and man, that Seattle team is really, really good, and you kind of felt that the NFC Championship between those two teams, between them and the Rams, was kind of basically the Super Bowl, because you felt both of those teams were going to be able to control and take down whatever team came from the AFC, and that's exactly what happened. Welcome into the game. About an hour and 45 minutes on the docket with you today. I am Cole Betchendorf. Toby Hamas across the glass as Mitch Fortner right now already at Manhattan High getting prepped for their doubleheader with Washburn Rural. The girls' game is a top 10, at least from last week's KBCA rankings. I know they're set to come out today. That's a top 10 battle in 6A. Washburn Rural, the number 10 team, and Manhattan, the number 8 team. Manhattan has lost to the girls 19 times in a row because Washburn Rural has been one of, if not the best girls basketball program consistently over the past decade, basically. They've been really, really good. They've met with Manhattan in the playoffs a handful of times in the sub-state round, usually the championship round as well. So Manhattan trying to exact a bit of revenge and move to 5-0 in league play. And then on the boys' side, the boys trying to stop the bleeding. They're on a 2-game losing streak right now, but that was a heartbreaker against Emporia on Friday, and then shorthanded on a short rest, and then waking up early to head to Mays on Saturday. That was a really good Mays team as well. So trying to bounce back. We'll have pregame at approximately 5:45 tonight with tip at 6. That'll be Mitch Fortner on the call. He'll join us later on in hour number 1. He'll name a Jabroni of the week. Then in hour 2, we're going to take our first look at K-State baseball in terms of a preview for the 2026 season as they're getting started here on Friday, and we will have coverage beginning on News Radio KMAN at 1:30. Pregame coverage at 1:30 on Friday. First pitch for the first game of the season against Iowa in the MLB Desert Invitational at 2 to kick off the Batcats season. We'll also, because we need a little bit of joy in our lives regarding K-State basketball, Toby had the fantastic idea of, given the KU Arizona Classic that we got to watch last night, which we'll go over that later on here in this segment, let's reminisce about some good times that we've had for K-State basketball. So we're going to go over our favorite K-State basketball wins in our lifetimes. Toby will join Mitch live at Manhattan High for that. But what I want from you guys, the audience, is to text in your favorite games in your lifetime, whether that was in person or on the television, at our text line, 785-537-1350. We'll turn it into a bit of an interactive segment if we can. We'll get Mitch's favorite, Toby's favorite, and mine before we head out live to Manhattan High. We'll also go over with now officially we're basically in the offseason for the NFL. So, of course, bringing you some Chiefs content. What are some of the first steps for Kansas City in free agency? But the big news, and I guess I don't know how big it is this week compared to last week, but K-State men's track and field still number 1 in the nation. They didn't have anything as a team this past week. They will be in action in Fayetteville, taking on, or not directly taking on Arkansas, but playing Arkansas on the road, their first road meet of the season. And there's only like 5 total, I believe, for the indoor track and field season. It's very quick. That'll be this weekend, the 13th and the 14th, but they're still number 1 on the men's side. And then for the women, they move up 1 spot without participating in any meets over the weekend to 14. So 2 top 15 teams and 1 at number 1. So we continue to bank our national title hopes on men's track and field for the 2026 indoor season. And, I mean, it's based on numbers. It's strictly based on numbers right now, these rankings. So it's not like a coach's poll or any kind of, I think you can have some legitimate hope that they are a contender for a national championship.
Yeah, I think that's the point exactly that you made right there. Just, this is legitimate. This is not just us hyping up the track and field team. There's a legitimate chance they could take home a national championship, bring it home to Manhattan this year.
Need to get the monkey off of the back for sure. Last night, big Monday, and a huge matchup for Arizona, by the way, starting off the season 23-0, and they're 7 games on their schedule, including last night. So obviously on the road at Allen, and then they host Texas Tech. Tech is currently the 16 seed in the nation. Then they host BYU. Okay, so pretty tough teams playing back-to-back. Then on the road at Houston, on the road at Baylor, hosting Kansas and hosting Iowa State. That's their 7-game run. That is absurd. The Big 12 this year, and I know they took off a year last year. The SEC was really, really good last season. The Big 12 is back, and the conference is as good as it has ever been. That is a 7-game stretch of the 9 seed, the 16, the 22, the 3, the 9, and the 5. That's a crazy run. And so we'll see what they do. They lost in their first test against KU, who won their first home game against the number 1 team since like the 50s, because they hadn't played one during the Bill Self era. It had been a long time, and actually Arizona was the last number 1 team that they played at their home building. Before we go into the Darren Peterson saga that continued last night, Bill Self, now 40-0 in Big Mondays at Allen. And he's lost, 22 home games in his 23 seasons of coaching. So it's insane what he's able to do season in, season out. And the consistency that down Darren Peterson, I didn't think KU was going to win. I thought it was going to be close because they've shown, even without Darren Peterson, because you've gotten a healthy dose of KU without DP this year, that they're still a really good basketball team. K-State saw that up close and personal in Bramlage just a couple of weeks ago. So he moves to 40-0 at home in Big Mondays. But I think maybe the bigger takeaway, and maybe it shouldn't be at this point, because it feels kind of normal, which is the crazy part, is Darren Peterson was out with flu-like symptoms, and that was ruled out 30 minutes before game time. Like during the pregame show, you saw the graphic saying he will not be playing tonight because of the flu-like symptoms. And then later on social media, this is a text actually seen on an ESPN worker's phone working courtside. This is a direct quote. "So he's sick, and he didn't tell anyone in practice, and Bill said, don't half-ass it if you're going to play. If not, sit. DP said, blanket, I'm out." And then Daniel Burke, the Senior Associate AD of Strategic Communications for KU, took to Twitter to respond. He directly quote-tweeted the Barstool, Arizona Twitter account. He said, quote, "The person texting in this video is a contracted crew worker who handles official stats during the game for ESPN. He does not work for KU and is not affiliated with the athletic department in any way. He has no inside information and was speculating. We are handling internally." So there is the newest chapter in what has been very interesting to watch so far. You saw KU in the beginning of the year without Darren Peterson, and they struggled a little bit. And then beginning of Big 12 play, that was with DP for the most part, and lost a couple of games. You wondered how good are they this year. They've looked fantastic recently with or without. They beat the number one team in the country without him. And there continues to be question marks about what's going on with Darren Peterson. Is it just a matter of he legitimately had the flu? Or is it just, a boy who cried wolf situation where, some of the things that have piled up in the past, such as playing the first half against BYU, sitting out the entire second half after going, 18 points on 8 shots or whatever, and cooking AJ DeBonsa in their couple of one-on-one matchups that they had as well. It just continues to be very interesting to watch unfold. There's no denying the talent. Just continues to be kind of a drama-filled situation week in, week out.
And it hurts to say with the down year we've had with basketball in Manhattan, but if KU is not on your national championship radar at this point with the performance they put on recently without Darren Peterson, I'd have to question who you think's going to win the national championship if KU's not in the conversation. That 40-0 mark for Big Mondays by Bill Self is just unreal. I think we both agree that Bill Self is maybe I won't say we both agree, but Bill Self is one of, if not the greatest college basketball coaches of all time when it comes to basketball.
Especially active right now. I mean, active, it's tough to say, yeah, this guy, he is better than Bill Self, as much as you said, that hurts to a certain extent, but you also have to appreciate greatness when you see it.
Right, exactly. And just they have arguably the best active basketball coach in the nation, and they're one of the best basketball teams in the nation, even without Darren Peterson. So then you add in maybe the best basketball player in the nation when he's healthy on the floor, not sick, not dealing with whatever he's dealing with. I mean, KU is a dangerous team.
And you mentioned it when he is on the floor. So that kind of brings me to my question for you. And now we're going to take a 20,000-foot view and look ahead to the 2026 NBA draft. If you're sitting there as, I'm going to put you into the scouting role for, let's say, the New Orleans Pelicans, and you get the number one pick in the lottery, and you look at the bodies of works of everyone in that conversation, look at Boozer, look at DeBonsa, there's others in that mix as well, but those are like the main three you would probably say are Peterson, Boozer, and DeBonsa. If you get the number one pick, are you taking Darren Peterson at this point?
I'm not going to act like I'm a huge basketball scout, like an NBA team would not be calling my number by any means, but you wouldn't question it that he would be the number one pick if it was any other year. This draft class is loaded. Those top three guys you mentioned are all phenomenal talents. I still do lean Darren Peterson for the number one pick. Just the moments he had recently with him, those 2 late threes to give them the win over Tech, I believe. Man, that's the moment where I was just like, yeah, that's your number one pick.
And that was in a game where he wasn't even playing very well. He had struggled from the field and then hit the 2 dagger threes late. I'm in your same shoes. I think you can't not take a guy of that talent and that caliber. I know there have been some of the issues off the court, and that's not. I don't think you should just toss those aside either, because that has continued to be a story throughout this season. But when you boil down to it, he shouldn't be playing college basketball. This is a guy who is very obviously. I mean, if we were in the era of the early 2000s, late 1990s, when guys like Kevin Garnett and Kobe Bryant and LeBron James in 2003 are going directly from high school to the NBA, this is a guy who would have done the same thing. You would have been in the same boat. He's that kind of player. I'm with you. I would probably still take him at number one because there have been those moments this year when he's on the floor. It's like, yes, he's very obviously the best player in college basketball. The BYU game is the best example of that by far. I mean, 18 points on a really good basketball team. I know they've lost 4 straight recently, but at the time they had not. They were playing some really solid basketball. That's the other, top 3 prospect, AJ DeBonsa, on the floor. There were a couple of possessions where he was saying, yeah, give me AJ and clear out. I want to show the world what I'm made of. And then he got the agent call. Yeah, hey, DP, let's call it a game. Let's sit for the rest of the half, and we don't want you to do anything else that'll risk any of your draft prospects as they continue to rise, because there were some NBA scouts at that game. There is no doubt about it. The talent is undeniable, and that's ultimately what it boils down to in my book for the next stage. It's also super frustrating as a fan of college basketball to say, hey, KU's got the best player in the nation right now, and he won't play half the games because of whatever reason.
Yeah, you just simply want to watch him play because it is a very fun watch. I wanted to see him in person here at Bramlage a couple weeks ago, but it wasn't available for that game, which sucked as a fan of just the sport and wanted to watch the best players play. And I will add, it's not like he's a locker room cancer. I don't think these absences are affecting the KU locker room in a negative way. He's not Doug McDaniel hurting the K-State vibes, hurting the locker room, and that playing an impact on how the season's turning out for KU, obviously. So I don't think that's a question when it comes to like his NBA draft pick status. I don't think you factor in there's not like locker room issues going on that I think the NBA teams should have to worry about.
I have a feeling that Mitch may be bringing in some shape or form, a Darren Peterson mentioned, because today is a Tuesday, which means it is, of course, Jabroni of the Week. That'll be later on in hour number 1. But when we come back, we'll go over some of the first steps that the Chiefs need to take in free agency, the 2026-27 season. It's upon us, folks. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Miss any of the show?
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Never fear, sports fan. Check out the Game podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and newsradiokman.com.
This is Vern Hendricks, and I'd like to invite you to join Dave Lewis and me every Monday morning at our new time, 9 a.m. here on News Radio KMAN. For the GMCF Community Hour, we enjoy celebrating the time, talents, and treasures of our community leaders and nonprofits each week. We will share GMCF updates, learn from community nonprofits, and provide you with upcoming community charitable events. For more information, call us at 587-8995 or visit our website at mcfks.org.
GMCF, helping you make a difference.
Start your engines! The 10th Annual Scouting America Coronado Area Council Corporate Pinewood Derby is racing into Manhattan Ford on Friday, February 13th from 7 to 10 p.m. To race, you'll need a sponsorship. Become a $1,000 track sponsor and receive 6 Derby car kits. A $500 pit crew sponsor includes 4 kits, or a team sponsor gets 2 kits. Just want to watch? Admission is $40 per person or $60 per couple. Enjoy food from Vista Drive-In, adult beverages, and live and silent auctions. Follow them on Facebook at Corporate Pinewood Derby or email Crystal Baldwin at scouting.org. See you at the races.
Whether it's game day or a night out with great live music, Bottle Cap Sports Bar delivers the atmosphere you're looking for. It's Manhattan's go-to spot for catching every Wildcats or Chiefs game and enjoying live music that plays the songs you actually know. Come early for a good seat, great music, and cold drinks served up right. Stay in the loop. Check out their Facebook page for the full schedule of events. Bottle Caps, where the music's live, the game's always on, and the vibe is just right.
Bottle Cap Sports Bar located on West Anderson across from Dairy Queen.
The Wildcats are gearing up for Big 12 battles you won't want to miss. Catch both men's and women's basketball all season long as they take on the best of the Big 12 right here at home. Don't miss a minute of the action. Get your conference play tickets now at kstatesports.com/tickets. The Wildcats are gearing up for Big 12 battles you won't want to miss. Catch both men's and women's basketball all season long as they take on the best of the Big 12 right here at home. Don't miss a minute of the action. Get your conference play tickets now at kstatesports.com/tickets.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2026 Winter Games. The day is done in Italy. It was a good one for the United States. 5 medals were won, 3 silvers, 2 bronzes, a stunning rout in women's hockey, and the figure skating star Ilya Malinin seems on his way to a gold medal after today's short program. He has the lead. The free skate is Friday. That hockey game was a 5-0 U.S. rout of Canada. The game fairly meaningless, but still shocking, although The U.S. played Canada in 4 exhibition games this past fall and won all 4 by a combined score of 24-7. Medal winners today included Alex Hall in freestyle skiing. He won silver. He won bronze 4 years ago. Ben Ogden, a surprising silver in cross-country skiing. Ashley Farquharson in the luge women's singles. Jackie Wiles and Paula Molson in alpine skiing. And the curling team won silver. John Stashower, Westwood One Sports.
O'Reilly. Check engine, ABS, or maintenance light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. The service is free and provides a report with solutions verified by ASE certified master technicians. And if you need help, we could recommend a shop for you. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Kohl's gets it. Valentine's Day comes with expectations. Grand expectations, telepathic expectations, and heart-shaped everything expectations. Yes, even waffles. Kohl's has gifts that rise to the occasion. From romantic to playful, sparkly to sweet, or all of the above. Plus, get 15% off some of your finds. So go ahead, exceed those Valentine's Day expectations with Kohl's. Select styles. Offer ends February 16th. Some exclusions apply. See store.
I'm Cole Betchendorf with a Game Sports Update brought to you by Bottle Cap Sports Bar. K-State women's basketball coming into the evening at 13-12 and 500 in Big 12 play will end a quick 2-game homestand tonight as they host former K-State assistant J.C. Hoyt and the Oklahoma State Cowgirls. The Wildcats are coming off a 77-52 win over BYU, arguably its most complete game of the season. The Cowgirls are the number 1 scoring team in the Big 12 at 85 points per game and feature 6 players averaging double figures in scoring, led by Micah Gray at 15.1 points per game. Tonight's tip at 6:30 with pregame at 6 over on Sunny 102.5. Manhattan High Hoops will play their second of a 3-game homestand in league play tonight, welcoming Washburn Rural to Manhattan for the first meeting between the two teams this season. It'll be a huge game on the girls' side for a top 10 meeting based on the most recent KBCA rankings, as Washburn Rural slotted in at number 10 and Manhattan at number 8. Lady Indians are trying to stop a 19-game losing streak to the Junior Blues, who have been among the most consistent programs over the last decade. On the boys' side, Manhattan will look to end a 2-game losing streak following a heartbreaker on Friday in their first Centennial League loss to Emporia. Mitch Fortner will have pregame at approximately 5:45, tip at 6 on News Radio KMAN. Toby, it's really a song coming back that you have to let marinate a little bit. You got to let it stew. You got to let some of those flavors blend in.
Couldn't even tell you what the song was.
It's timeless with the Weeknd and Playboy Cardi and the intro. It's just the payoff is too good, so you got to let it. It's a long build-up. It's like 20-25 seconds, but some songs, the payoff is worth it. Welcome back to the game. Cole Betchendorf, Toby Hamas across the glass. Reminder to text in at 785-537-1350 your most fond K-State basketball memory. It can be men's, it can be women's, it can be in person, it can be watching at home on TV. We're going to do a segment to wrap up the show in hour number 2, going over some of our favorite basketball wins in our lifetimes, because I don't want to talk about the current team anymore because it's been too sad, and we'll just go over the losses as we take them, as it's kind of been the theme of the season is they stink, and it's accurate. I mean, there's no argument for me. They have not been a very good basketball team this season, so let's talk about some things that we can be a little bit more excited about. That'll be later on in hour number 2. Mitch Fortner is set to join us later in hour number 1 for Jabroni of the Week. He's right now at Manhattan High, but before that, the Super Bowl has come and gone. The 2025-26 NFL season has come and gone, and with that, it means the offseason is upon us. And for the Chiefs, it's been an unseasonably long offseason, one that you're not used to because, I mean, they've played in 5 of the last 7 Super Bowls. They've played in every single AFC championship since 2018 before this season, they've been in the offseason for like a month and a half at this point. They were eliminated from playoff contention in early December. So you've kind of been thinking about some of these things, but it's weird to be sitting here February 10th and being like, all right, offseason time.
It's weird to hear that, but it's also just as weird to hear 5 of the last 7 Super Bowls featuring the Chiefs. It's just still unreal.
It does not feel real. You're 100% right. A couple of dates to be familiar with. February 17th, so 1 week from today. That's the first day to designate franchise and transition tags. I don't foresee the Chiefs using a franchise tag for this upcoming season. They have the last couple of years with Trey Smith was last season when they were eventually able to iron out a long-term extension. That's predominantly what they've used him for. They did it. I think they actually tagged Tyreek before they traded him in the 2022 offseason. Am I forgetting anyone the last couple of years?
Sneed, I think.
You're right. They tagged and traded L'Jarius Sneed before they traded him to the Titans a couple of seasons ago. I don't see that happening this year. I don't really think there's a ton of those candidates. I mean, if there was any, it'd be a L'Jarius Sneed type situation with Trent McDuffie, but he's still under contract for the player option for the 2026 season. So I don't see the Chiefs probably using that for this season. Usually it doesn't get used a ton by people around the league. I think there were like 2 last year, and the Chiefs were one of them, so I don't foresee that happening. But that does open up on February 17th. And then basically exactly a month from today, March 9th through 11th, that's the negotiation period for pending unrestricted free agents. And then finally at 3 p.m. Central Time on March 11th, that's when free agent deals and trades can be official. So basically it's legal tampering for a couple of days while teams are contacting agents and trying to hammer out some details on trades potentially. Everything becomes official 1 month and 1 day from today. And that brings us to the current situation for the Chiefs. And there's a ton to go over. We really could break this into a couple of segments over the next couple of weeks. Where I wanted to start was, how do you navigate the current hole that the Chiefs are in the cap? That's currently $62 million over the allotted cap space for the 2026 season, which did balloon up to $300 million-ish in that range. So another huge jump. It was like another $25 million jump for 2026. But again, $62 million over the cap. That's according to overthecap.com. And that seems like a ton of money. It's the worst current situation in the league, kind of by far. It's like $17 million more than the next closest team. But for the Chiefs fans out there listening, don't worry, do not fret. This is a situation that is pretty easily overcome thanks to just because the cap, it's real, but it's not that real because all you have to do really are a couple of things, starting with restructures of contracts of Patrick Mahomes. Potentially Chris Jones would probably give them some flexibility as well, but the Mahomes one specifically, last year he signed a roster bonus of $47 million that immediately gave the Chiefs a ton of cap room. His cap hit for this season, if left untouched, is like $75 million, something stupid like that. That will not be what actually happens to the cap with Patrick Mahomes this year. Don't worry. All it takes is the checkbook opening for Clark Hunt, which can be easier said than done. He likes to be stingy sometimes, but this is not one of those areas. This will get done. This will open up immediately a ton of flexibility. Same deal with Chris Jones. Those are the 2 biggest cap hits on the team for 2026. And both of those are pretty easily overcome just by a simple restructuring / giving them some signing bonuses that will immediately get them out of that dead money range.
Yeah, I mean, these people get paid millions of dollars to deal with the cap, to figure out ways to manipulate it. I have no worries in the Chiefs organization finding Brett Veach, whoever it is, finding out a way to get the cap in the right number. It's their job. They get paid millions to do it, so they can sort through the millions of dollars that the Chiefs have.
A couple other things that will most likely happen. This one I'm putting at, like, if this was in the sports book, it'd be a 99.9% chance of happening, like minus 30,000 would be the betting odds for this. Jawan Taylor will not be a Chief in 2026. Cutting him is a dead cap hit of only $7 million as opposed to $27.5 million if he remains on the team for this upcoming season. That's not going to happen. I think they have enough with Jalen Moore to the point where they do not need to keep another right tackle if they're paying $27.5 million. And also, I know I have been extremely frustrated with the penalties that have accrued up over the past couple of years. Don't get me wrong. Juwan has been solid. He's been a very good right tackle for the Chiefs when he hasn't been getting penalized. The problem is he's been the most penalized player in the league over the last couple of seasons. Juwan Taylor will not be a Chief in 2026.
And you nailed it there. I mean, you hate to see him go because he was a productive player, but he was just simply getting paid too much for too many mistakes. It was just a headache for Chiefs fans over the last few years. And even when he is at his best, he's still getting penalized. He's still creating issues for the offense.
One more candidate for being cut, I think McDana will most likely not be a Chief in 2026. That'll save you $9 million. It's an $11 million cap hit under the contract for next season, and he just was not very productive this last year for Kansas City. That's, again, saving $9 million in that. So those 4 moves alone give you approximately $25 million in cap space. Could be more than that, could be less than that, depending on, as you said, how the cap wizards move everything around. And overthecap.com actually has the total amount that they could realistically restructure, closer to $110 million total dollars. That's taking them from out of the hole to $46 million in cap space. I'm going to trust them because they're the ones who do the coding and figuring everything out on that side. So I'm not worried at all, and I don't think you should be because, again, the cap, yes, it is a real thing. Cap space is real, but only to a certain extent. There are a lot of ways to navigate out of that. Mahomes will have years where it'll be like an $80 million cap hit. That will never happen. They will continue to figure out ways around that. They'll rip up the contract he currently has and give him a new one that'll make it a little bit more manageable for Kansas City. No worries on that front whatsoever. So where you have to pivot to next is the possible free agents to retain. Guys that are not under contract for the 2026 season that you might want to have back. And this is just the list that kind of stick out to me. There was, I think, 20 that the Chiefs will have walking into free agency for next season. There are some obviously notable ones. Travis Kelce would be at the forefront of that because I do believe he's going to be back for the 2026 season. All signs that we have seen have pointed to that, whether it be the Kylie Kelce podcast. I saw something about him running it back this season, or talking about seeing his boy Eric Bieniemy back in the Chiefs locker room in the 2026 season. So I think he's going to be back. One interesting thing with him is how much money is Travis Kelce going to make in 2026? Is he going to take, the quote-unquote team-friendly deal? He's a guy that shouldn't have to. I would be okay, honestly, if he made around what he made the last couple of seasons, because that is a franchise cornerstone. He's on the Mount Rushmore. I think he's the greatest tight end of all time. This is a guy who, if he wants this X amount of money, give it to him. He's earned it.
To play the opposing side of that, just because I know people are going to say it, he's marrying Taylor Swift.
This is the other part of it.
The billionaire is probably one of the most wealthy people. Just sign a contract for whatever the wedding costs. Call it good.
Yes, there you go. That's perfect. Some other free agents. Hollywood Brown. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not going to be with the Chiefs in 2026. Not even because of what he was. I think he was fine. I think Hollywood was a very helpful asset at times, made some big catches for Kansas City last season. It's just a matter of, I think there needs to be a bit of a reset in the wide receiver room. Juju is also a free agent for the upcoming season. I would not be shocked if he is no longer retained, just because, again, you need to have a clean slate. Wide receiver room was very hyped up for this season. I was one of them right there alongside, pumping the horn and saying, yeah, this is going to be a really good wide receiver room, and definitely left a little bit to be desired. And you only have 5 wide receivers on contract for this upcoming season. It's obviously Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, and Jalen Royals, who you've all drafted within the last 3 seasons. And then it's Jason Brownlee. And there was another one who I'd literally never heard of. Jimmy Holiday is apparently a wide receiver that the Chiefs have under contract for next season. So I think there's going to be some shuffling of some pieces. And Hollywood Brown, I don't think he's going to be retained. And Juju Smith-Schuster, I would not be surprised if both of those players are not in Chiefs uniforms for 2026.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind to see Juju back because he did fill a productive role, especially when Travis Kelce was getting doubled
and by far the best blocking wide receiver on the team. Not even close.
Yeah, absolutely. And now that they have hopefully have a real wide receiver coach in the building at Arrowhead, a fresh start for the unit could be beneficial, although Juju would be one of the guys I would look at coming back.
Couple of members of the 2022 draft class, which is the most important of the Mahomes era to date, that will hit free agency. Brian Cook is one of them. I think he becomes kind of important to retain just based off of The team didn't really seem to trust Jaden Hicks in the safety role last season. They said he made too many mistakes, and that was the reason why he didn't play, even though he is more physically gifted than a player like Shamari Connor in the slot. So we'll see how that works out. Brian Cook, you probably look to retain him. Mike Edwards will not be here next year. Jalen Watson, this is a really interesting one, and it's kind of the debate of, do you want to pay for Jalen Watson for cheaper or try to hammer out an extension for Trent McDuffie? Trent McDuffie, yes, 100% is the better player than Jalen Watson. Does Trent McDuffie want cornerback one money when he's been the best slot corner in the league and a really good boundary corner? Really good boundary corners get a ton of money. A slot corner still going to get a lot of money, and Trent McDuffie has earned a ton of money. He's been a multiple-time All-Pro, but how much are you willing to fork over? Whereas Jalen Watson, fantastic on the boundary. That's where he's made his money and made his presence felt for the Chiefs over the past couple of seasons. Obviously, you're not really going to be playing him in the slot as much, so that's going to be, I think, one of the more interesting pieces of free agency for the Chiefs to see what is the plan at the cornerback position moving forward. We mentioned potential candidates for being cut. Christian Fulton is making $13 million next year. He didn't play very much this season. He was basically a healthy scratch for 75% of the Chiefs' games. So the cornerback position is also an extremely important one to watch as we look at just retaining players and also just what the market is across the NFL.
It definitely feels like the Trent McDuffie domino has to be the first one to fall for Kansas City in that secondary in the cornerbacks room. I always mention this with Chiefs and talking about their secondary. Brett Veach does a phenomenal job of developing
really good
secondary guys. You lose L'Jarius Sneed, didn't really hurt you. I mean, I trust Brett Veach and their scouting department when it comes to defensive backs. They're going to figure it out. They're going to get the right guys.
Dave Merritt, the quarterbacks coach, has been, I mean, it's been producing diamonds year after year after year. I mean, there was a couple of years where, I mean, Joshua Williams was a legitimate contributor to the 2023 Super Bowl when they beat the Eagles. L'Jarius Sneed, great example of it. And then the current players that you have on the roster, I mean, they were never terrible in the secondary. I mean, you look at Trent McDuffie, that was more of your Jim kind of thought of as a really high prospect going into that draft class. But you also look at a lot of 5th, 6th, 7th rounders that they have turned into legitimate NFL players. Jalen Watson is an example of that. He was a late round draft pick in 2022 and has blossomed into a guy. He's going to get some money in the NFL next season. So there's a ton. One more that I want to mention is Leo Chenal, and that's one that, man, if you can bring Leo back, I think you do what you have to try to bring him back. If it's more than $7 or $8 million, you probably can't. But he has been one of my favorite Chiefs to watch over the past couple of seasons. I mean, for being a guy who's been kind of just like a role linebacker type player, he's delivered some fantastic moments. I mean, you go back to, of course, the block against the Broncos that won them the game last season. I go back to also in the 2024-25 season against the Falcons on Sunday Night Football when he destroyed the left side of the Falcons line, stopped Bijan on that 4th and inches play in the fourth quarter. So if you can bring Leo back on a reasonable deal, I think you got to do what you got to do to be able to bring him back to Kansas City.
And I remember we were talking to Mitch Holtis on the show about Leo Chenal, and he was just talking about how this is the most athletic guy he's ever seen, just a freak athlete, and you can always make room for a guy like that on your team.
Still plenty to go over, but just in terms of time, and also there's still a month till free agency. We'll save some. There's some meat on the bone as we move forward. Tyquan Thornton is a guy to talk about further. Kareem Hunt is a guy to talk about further. We'll save that for another segment because when we come back, we got Mitch Fortner live at Manhattan High delivering to you a Jabroni of the Week. That's after these words on News Radio KMAN.
Your home for K-State sports.
Here comes Sproles, first down, midfield, breaks the daylight. This would give him a 2-touchdown lead. He's got it. 60 yards on the middle screen to Darren Sproles.
This is The Game on News Radio KMAN.
For area high school scores, recaps, league standings, and coach interviews, check out Scoreboard Saturday at 8 a.m. during football and basketball season, including coverage of the Centennial League, NCKL, Big East League, Flint Hills League, and the Twin Valley League. Scoreboard Saturday on News Radio KMAN is powered by WTC Communications.
Battles aren't won solely on the field. That's a common misconception. Battles are won within, over enemies of fear, enemies of doubt. In that place where promises are kept. Promises to oneself.
This is a physical training event.
Promises to one's community.
Helping people move debris out of their house.
Promises to one's country. In the heart of every Marine, you'll find a promise. A promise forever kept. A promise of battles won.
James was diagnosed at 3 months old with neuroblastoma. We went from thinking we had a healthy 3-month-old little boy, all of a sudden he had this super serious cancer. It was heartbreaking. He had chemotherapy until he was just under a year old, and at that point he was in remission.
Went that way for a year and then relapsed February of 2023, and here we are 1 year later finishing up treatment, hopefully.
The research is extremely important. The treatments that they're developing here get shared with all the doctors to help treat children worldwide.
It's contributing something like one more piece of the puzzle to curing this horrible disease. We all want the same thing. We all want our children to live, have long, meaningful lives.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Standing at the edge of a rocky shore, you breathe in the cool, salty air, watching the sun disappear on the horizon. Across the globe, someone begins their day along a sandy beach, listening to the rhythm of the crashing waves. You each envision a world beneath the water, vibrant life in every imaginable form. Now, imagine it's all gone. What was once a place of wonder and beauty is now a dull, lifeless wasteland. Food, jobs, medicine, all gifts from the ocean, all gone. Time is running out to protect our oceans, and without our love, everything the oceans provide can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our oceans. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
News Radio KMAN weather.
Right now in Manhattan, 54 degrees. Wind gusting as high as 21 out of the northeast, blowing pretty steadily at around 13. Mostly clear with the low around 29 tonight, and the wind from today and the past couple of days dying down to just around 5 miles an hour. Then tomorrow, mostly sunny and a high near 53. Moving ahead to tomorrow night, mostly cloudy and a low around 34. Then on Thursday, partly sunny and a high near 58. Welcome back to the game. Cole Bescheldorf now flying solo in studio, and that's because we got Mitch Fortner standing by at Manhattan High. And Mitch, with the games tonight, this is the first time that you've been at Manhattan High for a game since late December, is that right?
That is correct, but it doesn't help that on the schedule they only have 7 home games.
Right.
It's a very light, especially now with the schedule with 23 games, only 7 at home. It's crazy how that works out, but yeah, I'm glad to be back here. You get to do the Junction City game next week here at the MHS Gym. That's always the best game to call. So,
I'm very much looking forward to it. So with that, we're going to set it up for the segment that Mitch does best, Jabroni of the Week.
Know your role and shut your mouth. You jabroni. You jabronis hit the jackpot.
That Hollywood blonde jabroni, Hulk Hogan.
Ow. Is this Jabroni's name?
Jabroni of the Week.
Well, I do want to start with, I'm sure it's something that's already been brought up in today's show and will continue to be brought up a little bit later on. That's Darren Peterson from KU. For those that don't know the story, he was a late scratch from yesterday's win over number 1 Arizona in Allen Fieldhouse because of what was reported as flu-like symptoms. If you want to speculate that maybe he's a little soft, especially with the injury history, he had played in this 8-game winning streak. He's played in 6 of the 8 games. The only other one he didn't play in was the K-State game after a turned ankle. It did seem a little bit fishy, especially with K-State players are playing with, I'm going to, give you a big old air quote here, flu-like symptoms. A Manhattan High coach plus players dealing with the flu. They're not, well, some have to sit out because they're just, sick as a dog. But Benji George is going to coach tonight with the flu. Sitting out with the flu is one thing, but also, with flu-like symptoms. But the crazy funny part about this is it seems like it's more than just that because there was a ESPN worker who's regional to the area that was texting at the scores table, and somebody caught it sitting behind him and basically shared that, look, he went up to one of the coaches, said he wasn't feeling good. Bill Self says, look, if you're going to half-ass it, don't even go tonight. And old DP said, blanket, I'm out. So that makes it seem like it's more than just the flu or whatever, or the coaches are getting just sick and tired of this being a game-by-game, is he going to play or is he not going to play type of situation. He went up to Curtis Townsend, who, by the way, is paid less. He's been at KU for 22 seasons, is paid less than Matthew Driscoll and Dream Dowling. He's the one that went up to Darren Peterson went up to Curtis Townsend, and so who knows the full story. It sounded like KU is trying to cover as much as they can about any other hypothesis about why this could be the issue. So Darren Peterson is my first dishonorable mention. I'll get to my second one here with Iowa State gymnastics coach Ashley Miles-Gregg. Interesting story coming out last week where it was Friday. They were supposed to take on West Virginia, and they had to cancel the meet hours before because Coach Gregg said that they were lacking athletes. And then a few days later, Iowa State just all of a sudden canceled their season. It was done. They're not because of a lack of athletes, they say. Well, it turns out it could be a lot more than that. First of all, they were losing a lot of meets. They weren't doing very well, just 2 wins on the season. That's pretty low. Now, they're not a LSU of gymnastics by any means, but they've had success in the past. Well, a lot of their athletes, more than a week ago, was starting to get back on their recruitment Instagram pages and their social media that they used as, highlight reels and recruitment and all that stuff. And some of them hadn't even been active for over 2 years. They were getting back on them and starting to put out some stuff about their career so far, highlight reels, and also following new coaches in college gymnastics. Basically, it seems like gymnasts are just not wanting to be a part of the program anymore. They're basically bailing, and Iowa State doesn't have anybody left to compete. So it is bad news for gymnastics there in Old Ames, Iowa.
And that would be, what in the world? We need like an ESPN 30 for 30 on what the heck happened for the entire season to be canceled. Like, what in the world was going on behind the scenes?
My last dishonorable mention, let's go to the Winter Olympics. Did you hear about this recent trend at the Winter Olympics? It's not the, the rough living situations or anything like that. Heard in Milan, it's really not that bad. But I don't know. I haven't really been watching any of the Olympics lately. But it's about the medals that these Olympians are winning. Apparently, the medals are coming apart. Like there's this bracket or whatever you want to call it that holds the medal and then with the ribbon together so the athletes can wear them. And they're falling apart. Those brackets are breaking off the medals, and the athletes are like, what the heck is this? What's going on? So I'm going to give it to whoever's making these medals because they're apparently cheap pieces of crap. And now Olympic officials are telling these athletes, if you win the medals, don't jump around. That's a true story. Don't celebrate. Don't jump around. Don't do anything because we're trying to investigate what is up with these medals.
Get it figured out, man. Once every 4 years and we can't do it.
But my jabroni of the week, and I'm going to give you this disclaimer right now, has nothing to do with politics, but my jabroni of the week is going to go to Kid Rock. because there was the Turning Point USA All-American halftime show to counter the Super Bowl halftime show with Bad Bunny. Kid Rock was the headliner, and, well, it turns out that it appeared that the music and the lyrics weren't synced up with, apparently, Kid Rock. He was way off, it appeared, but it also appeared that just the music that was playing, Kid Rock was like 2 steps behind what was playing. So then everybody starts accusing Kid Rock of lip syncing. Well, then he for those that don't know, Kid Rock has he's a very thin-skinned gentleman. There's a few like pieces of evidence of that where this has happened multiple times where he's like outperforming. He lives in Nashville. He'll show up to his bar and do some sets or whatever. But if people don't start clapping with him, he'll just get up and leave, and he's done that a few times. And then he has been a part of some comedy roasts. But when people start roasting him, he gets really bent out of shape about that and gets real, I'm better than you to these comedians. There's a few stories out there about that. But anyway, he didn't like the message I was getting out that he was lip syncing. So he's been getting on social media. He's been getting on Fox News, a different couple of news sources. And he basically said, all this is fake news. When they synced the cameras to my performance on Bawa to Ba, it did not line up as I explained in the video. And also he said he pre-recorded the performance but then performed it live. I mean, I know that's a bit of a confusing thing, but to me that still sounds like lip syncing.
Seems fishy.
You're not singing live, right? You're singing to a
track. It's karaoke,
basically. Yeah, basically. Well, he's not singing at all, is what I'm getting at here. But even if he pre-recorded it, to me that's still lip syncing, right? Look, that might be our modern-day Ashley Simpson SNL, like becoming the most famous lip-syncing performance of all time. But him getting so bent out of shape about it, having to feel like he has to now prove something, that the people just had it wrong, when you just break it down, he was still lip-syncing, that's why he becomes my Jabroni of the Week.
Not a great look indeed. No doubt about that. Reminder, we still got a lot to come in hour number 2. The first look at K-State baseball on the offensive side for 2026 and the favorite K-State basketball wins in our lifetimes. That's after a local break and CBS News on News Radio KMAN.
Midstate Mechanical, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, can get your furnace winter ready with their complete HVAC system check and service. Midstate Mechanical will give you the peace of mind that your furnace is operating safely, efficiently, and properly to give you the warmth your family deserves. Not sure your system will make it through the winter? Midstate Mechanical can help. They use the most reliable brand, American Standard. Midstate Mechanical, your American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, providing quality service for over 30 years.
A certificate of deposit is a great way to put your extra dollars to work. Central National Bank has competitive CD rates, so when it's time to make a safe and predictable investment, it's Central time. You could plug in a CD to hear hairband music, or you can plug in a new CD from Central and hear ka-ching.
Central National Bank, money for life.
Member FDIC, money for whatever since 1884.
What's up, everybody? Nick Costos here, helping you beat the books with Westwood One Sports. Huge game tonight in college hoops. Nebraska, about a 1.5, 2-point home favorite against Purdue. Total 148.5. And I like Purdue to win this game. I love Purdue's senior point guard. Purdue 2 straight wins following a 3-game losing streak. I think Purdue's the better team, so give me Purdue to win tonight at Nebraska. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetMGM app today.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/game. That's ethos.com/game. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
KS State Bank offers convenient services to help make life a little easier. Visit ksstate.bank to learn more. KS State Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. KMAN, Manhattan. News Radio KMAN weather.
Right now in Manhattan, 52 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Wind gusting as high as 20 out of the north pretty steadily at around 10 miles per hour. Tonight mostly clear and a low around 29, and the wind continuing to die down from earlier today and the last couple of days really. Mostly sunny and a high near 53 tomorrow. Tomorrow night mostly cloudy and a low around 34, and then on Thursday partly sunny with a high near 58.
K-Man Daily Weather is presented by Fox Business Systems. How much does downtime cost you and your business? Don't let another second go by. Call Fox Business Systems at 776-1452.
Welcome back to the game after work, and I hear Mitch singing along. I'm not too familiar with this tune. What can you tell me about Summertime, Mitch?
Was that on air?
No, it was not. No, you were not.
Oh, I was doing the summertime. That's DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Okay, well there you go. I'm more educated today than I was yesterday.
Yeah. Are you familiar with the show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air?
Yeah, a little bit. I didn't watch a ton, but I watched enough back on like Nickelodeon. Nick at Night is when it aired. If my memory serves, back when I was younger, they were doing the reruns at that point.
It wasn't on. It wasn't like yes, it was reruns. I think it originally was on NBC.
Okay,
but I don't remember watching it live. But yes, the reruns absolutely. But before the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you had DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince hip hop duo. And DJ Jazzy Jeff, he still DJs. He still goes out on tour with people and still does that. Will Smith very rarely performs musically, performs live. But people are familiar with Will Smith, right? It's, oh gosh, now I'm blanking on the gosh dang song.
West Philadelphia, born and raised. Is that what we're going with?
No. I don't know why I'm blanking on it. Well, Parents Just Don't Understand is one of them. The Men at Black song is one of them. Miami and Getting Jiggy with It. Oh, my God. I'm embarrassed. I can't believe I froze up there. But Summertime is a very underrated song. And I thought it was funny that she played it because it felt like summertime yesterday. It's a warm week, really, even just being in the 50s. But, yes, I'll add that to a playlist I'll pull you up some Fresh Prince, DJ Jazzy Jeff songs.
Maybe we can do a start bench cut later this month just to get us warmed up for the summer days when we need something to talk about that is not sports, because there aren't a lot of sports going on because the NFL has come to a close. College football has been done for a little while. It's almost time for baseball season, and that brings us to our next segment. And I'm going to let Toby and Mitch do a lot of the heavy hitting here, pun fully intended, as we're going to take our first preview look at K-State baseball for the 2026 season. And we're going to spend some time specifically in this next segment looking at the offense for the 2026 season. So without further ado, Mitch, you can go ahead and take it away.
Well, yeah, just focusing on the offense today, looking back at 2025, I would say it's fair to say that they had their ups and downs, right? There were some numbers that were just incredible. Some numbers you're like, how is this team a regional team at times, right? Because looking back at the Big 12 numbers from a year ago, I mean, this is a team that was, third to last in the Big 12 in hitting percentage. Because K-State finished with a batting average of 278. That was third worst in the Big 12, but they hit a ton of home runs. And if there's a bread and butter offense, what Coach Hughes and Austin Waits are known for, that is finding power, hitting a ton of dingers. And K-State crushed the record last year. They hit 97 home runs. Believe it or not, that did not lead the Big 12, but that's still a ton of home runs. That will certainly up your slugging percentage. There's no doubt about that. K-State looks to be a disciplined team at the plate. They take maybe a little bit too many borderline pitches, but they're going to walk a ton. So K-State, but overall, is looking to certainly improve across the board when it comes to its batting lineup. And I think with some of their portal additions, that is certainly I mean, they're looking to address a couple of areas. I think there's no doubt about that. But, Toby, taking a look at who's coming back for this team, you know, K-State does not return their 3 top hitters, but their next 4 they do return. And I think A.J. Avasco is that top name in my opinion. That's a freshman last year who returns, right? I think he could be your first baseman. He could be your right fielder. He probably play both positions, I'm sure. But set program records as a freshman in both home runs and RBIs. I don't know about you, but this is a D1 All-American from a season ago. It's a fair expectations that A.J. Avasco, you expect a big jump after a player that hit over 300. Consistent play, a much better bat, though, in a sophomore season where he's going to be looked upon to be that kind of guy.
Yeah, one of my biggest keys for this K-State baseball team this year is just avoiding the sophomore slump for A.J. Avasco. He's definitely got to be a guy that steps up at the plate for K-State, and if he does have a sophomore slump, like we've seen that recently. Nick English had a great freshman year for K-State and then kind of slowed down the next 2 seasons. But you really want to avoid that sophomore slump if you're A.J. Avasco this year.
And for Nick English, I mean, it was tough to compete with a guy like A.J. Avasco because they both can play in the outfield. In the outfield is a little bit of an interesting question, but that's a defensive story for tomorrow's show about who could fill those gaps in the outfield because right now maybe that's an area that K-State lacks in some experience, at least really solid experience, like go-to guys could be everyday type of guys. I'm going to throw in D. Kennedy as well. He was K-State's best player on the base pass. He stole 12 bases a year ago. You know, Bear Madliak said the other day in the media day that he feels like D is going to take the biggest jump offensively, which is exciting. He just has to be more disciplined at the plate because he led the team in strikeouts last year, and it was a top 10 number in the Big 12.
Yeah, I think the infield is really, for people that may struggle to remember some of the returners for K-State baseball, the infield's going to be where the names that you remember from last year with D. Kennedy at shortstop, and then third base you're going to have a newcomer, but second base you're going to have you're going to have to help me out.
So
here.
it's Shintaro, and this is a player I asked for the pronunciation. Right. He said Inoue, so I threw an U in there, but everybody was saying just Inoue, and now that's how it is in the pronunciation guide. So we're just going Inoue.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for it, but you got him returning at second base, and then you look at first base. That's likely going to be A.J. Avasco if you had to ask me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you have a solid core of returners there, and then you look at third base. That's a guy. Grant Gallagher. He's a newcomer. He's a transfer. Maybe not a name that you've heard of before, but I think it's a guy that's going to be high impact for K-State in the infield.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt. I think he is going to be your third baseman. D1 Baseball called him preseason without playing a single game for K-State yet. He's a top 200 transfer as the number 1 third baseman in the Big 12. So that is obviously, I mean, that kind of gets you in the feels a little bit. That's exciting, right? But you know what? I mean, in the field of play, and I want to go back to D. Kennedy. I think this is where you see some of the adjustments. You're going to move Grant Gallagher. He's going to play third base. D. Kennedy moves to shortstop. In a way, he's going to be at second, where K-State honestly needs to clean up the errors. You know, Grant Gallagher, though, at the plate, coming out of ETSU, he also played at Santa Fe College, played some JUCO ball before coming to ETSU. He has a ton of experience. I mean, playing in Florida, he played in 98 games, and at ETSU, he was a phenomenal hitter. He hit 276, but 20 home runs. So K-State brings in an exceptional bat with power, 49 RBI. But how about this? And I think this is the grand number here for Grant Gallagher, his discipline at the plate. Not only can he hit dingers, but also he's disciplined where he tied for the nation lead, as in an all Division I baseball of all the batters, tied for the most walks with 66. So this is a definition of a Pete Hughes baseball player. Probably, I'll ask you, does he come away as maybe the most exciting add to you out of the transfer portal?
Yeah, I definitely say so. That number, anytime you're batting 276 and then your on base goes up 200 points nearly just by your walks, I mean, that's a crazy stat. So this is, you talked about in the open that K-State needs to walk more this season if they want to be another regional team. And I think Grant Gallagher is an addition that will really help them solve that issue, shore up the walk.
But Grant Gallagher is also a utility player. He could play multiple positions. There's also another infielder that's coming in Carlos Vasquez, that I'm very excited about as well. He comes from Western Kentucky. He played for the Hilltoppers last year. He hit 366. In an area I think K-State's looking to grow. They were middle of the pack, maybe towards the bottom-ish a little bit in doubles last year. Again, I'm telling you about the on-base percentage, slugging percentage, ramped up because of K-State hitting a bunch of home runs. K-State looking to grow in the doubles department. First of all, Grant Gallagher can hit doubles. But also Carlos Vasquez was one of the best players in the country last year in hitting doubles. He had 22 last year plus 5 home runs. 22 doubles in a college season is an insane amount. Plus, with all his at-bats, he only struck out. He had over 230 at-bats last year, only struck out 27 times. This is also a guy that grinded at the JUCO level and has made his way up his senior year to play for K-State. So this is another player to me. He's a top 200 player that brings discipline, brings great bat play to K-State's offensive lineup and I'm not even sure if he does end up in the starting lineup day one for K-State on Friday.
Yeah, I feel like the key theme that we keep coming back to is just discipline. K-State needs more discipline at the plate, and that's a trait of the best Pete Hughes teams, is just having discipline at the plate. And I think, that's what K-State baseball is. It's small ball. It's doing the small things right. And if K-State can hit on that with some of these new additions, I think that's going to be key to the offensive success.
And I want to add another player out of the portal. Again, I'm bringing up a few players. I'm saying this is where the potential lies, but is not limited to. The other player I want to bring up is a former Nebraska outfielder, and Robbie Bolin, who played 51 games for the Cornhuskers. He is a great defensive piece. Offensively, this is where the coaching of Austin Waits comes into play. Getting him into the fall, working on his strength. He's got that in his DNA. It just, when you get working with Austin Waits, who's the best hitting coach in the nation, that's what we got free throw shooting here. I want to be the loudest in the gym, and I got a lot of eyeballs looking at me, I noticed. He comes out of Barton Community College, where there, as a sophomore, he was a JUCO All-Star. He played for Team USA. And then the word on the streets was this fall, they really found his bat power. He exploded more than anybody else during the fall, so that's pretty exciting. So the DNA of this team having that power, once again, just like they have pretty much every season under the Pete Hughes, should absolutely be an expectation to be there. So with that being said, I just want to ask you just where you sit right now. Is there an area or two that you got to see K-State improve in those areas offensively this season?
Yeah, the area that jumps out at me is what Pete Hughes said in media days last week is base stealing. K-State regressed last year big in the base stealing efficiency category. I'll just read you the quote from Pete Hughes himself. He said, I think 2 years ago it was a mainstay and they were doing it as a high percentage of effectiveness. K-State, when they made that super regional run, they were stealing bases. They were doing small ball. They were doing the little things right. They kind of took a step back there last year. They need to get back to that 85% success rate. That's the mark that Pete Hughes mentioned, and that's a number that he wants to see K-State get back to this year and have success with.
And one more thing I want to bring up here is we'll play a couple of clips here from Pete Hughes, and we'll hear his thoughts there. We'll hear it from overall offense, the possibilities and the what could be with this team because of its depth, because Coach feels like this team has more depth this year, which he kind of talks like that every year. But I feel like I believe it on the offensive side of things. My biggest issue, I think, last year is not only just how they operated on the base paths, as in there's a ground ball to the shortstop and the runner at second takes off for third. That would happen too much. But for me, it was, for example, that first game against Oklahoma State last year in Stillwater, where K-State's making a big comeback. They got the bases loaded. They need a run or whatever it was. And K-State got super aggressive against a pitcher who was on the ropes, who maybe was in a little bit too long, and K-State is making a comeback, and K-State swings at the first pitch. Like, you got a pitcher that's struggling right now, and you got super aggressive, and it never worked out for K-State. It was pop-ups or a ground out, and K-State, probably in an unnecessary reason, got aggressive when they didn't need to. So it was just kind of those hair-pulling, it's maddening kind of mistakes that I think K-State could clean up, and hopefully they will this season. Let's hear from head coach Pete Hughes. This was from last week's media day, talking about just the offense and its potential in 2026.
I'm used to playing 9 or 10 guys, and that number's jumped to 12 or 13 guys in the mix, which gives you really good matchups. But I do think that power component's going to be there again. I want to be a little more efficient offensively on the bases. with our run game. It's an area where we're adamant in becoming more proficient at. But to answer your question, I do think that we'll see a lot of pitches. We'll control the strike zone. We'll get on base. We'll put pressure on people. And then that power component is right there. That's for sure.
I know Coach Hughes believes in the depth of the pitching staff, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. But offensively, K-State needs to be better at stringing some hits together. They need to be better at the plate with 2 strikes. There's no doubt about that. Those kind of growing moments I hope we see early, and it could honestly be the difference on how far K-State can go this season, making a regional, which is the expectation, but can they go further than that?
We saw how many home runs they hit last year. Power was the name of the game for the offense, and that can be the case again this year for the offense. But you got to do the little things too. You can't just play by the long ball. You got to figure out ways to do the little things right too.
All right, well, that's our preview of the K-State offense, and it was a little bit of a quick one there, but there's still some holes to fill. Again, the outfield, who's going to be the ones in the lineup on opening day, I think is going to be very interesting to see who that is going to be. I mean, there's probably some freshmen that we could talk about that could be making an impact early in the season. Oh, man, there was a collision between 2 Washburn Rural players that I thought was uglier than it actually was. They got back up, and they're okay. So, but I will tell you, Toby, when it comes to confidence on who do I believe more when it comes to what's going to have more depth and success, because of just the arms kind of getting worn out there late in the year. I feel like, and with the additions in the transfer portal, I think offensively, right now I'm believing on that side of the game more right now than I am on defense, which still, well, it remains to be seen with opening day coming up Tuesday at 2:00 against Iowa.
Yeah, and I come back to Grant Gallagher. I think that's just a phenomenal ad. Really shores up some of the, inefficiency, some of the places on the offense where you're looking to add some more, get some more production from, and I think Grant Gallagher is a phenomenal ad, and I think fans are really going to come to enjoy what he brings to the K-State offense.
All right, that is our preview, Cole, of K-State's offense for baseball in 2026, and, of course, we're going to take a look at the defensive side in the field and, of course, the pitching staff for the Cats in 2026 on tomorrow's show.
I'm going to hop in here for one thing. You heard Coach Hughes talk about wanting to be more efficient on the bases, and with that is he wants to steal more. Here's the clip of him talking about that at Media Day.
It's fine doing it out here against each other, but we got to do it live in high-pressure situations and have to do it efficiently. And I don't think we did that last year. It was not part of our team that I loved. But I think we can get to a different level this year where we were 2 years ago, where it's a mainstay and we're doing it at a high percentage of effectiveness. Like, I think we stole 85% 2 years ago, and that's a percentage and success rate that we're looking to achieve again.
When I'm thinking about my favorite teams of all time when it comes to baseball, I mean, obviously there's one obvious choice, and that would be the Royals of 2015. But even going back to 2014, that was what they were so dominant at. That was being extremely efficient on the base paths. It was being aggressive on the base paths, and it was being efficient on the base paths. Once you get on, you got guys like Gerard Dyson who are able to use their speed and put themselves into position to score more runs. Small ball is one of my favorite aspects of baseball, and I think that, you hear that that's the outline that Coach Hughes wants to have and the emphasis that he wants to put on the team for this upcoming season. And then one more thing, this is a question for both of you back out at Manhattan. So I think the biggest question is, are we going to see more home runs this season than we saw last year?
That's so hard to tell based on, you lose your top 3 hitters in Keegan O'Connor and Maximus Martin and, Seth Dardar. You lose 3 pretty solid hitters that are obviously pretty key in hitting a lot of those dingers. K-State doesn't necessarily replace those guys with DNA home run hitters, but it's guys that get on base, hit doubles, and as I mentioned with Robbie Bolin, does have a DNA to hit home runs, but it just hasn't shown it maybe quite yet in his college career, and you're hoping that explodes here in this upcoming baseball season. So right now, actually taking the under. If you were to give me, if it's less or more than last year's total, just based on that being last year the record for this program,
right,
I will say it's under, but expect it not to be incredibly lower, like 90, 91, 92. It could be in that area. It's a little less, but that's still a pretty solid season.
Yeah, I'm going to have to back Mitch here. It's hard to bank on them breaking the program record for a second straight year. Would it be a third straight year?
I think 2 years ago, I have to look at the record book here, but I want to say it was a couple of years ago, maybe 3, that it was like 89 or something like that. But for Pete Hughes, who's been here now, 7 seasons? This is year 7, year 8, whatever it is. I think it's every year but one was a top 10 home run hitting year in program history.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers say right there, the offense, I think the offense can revolve around both aspects, the long ball and just doing the small things, doing the small ball characteristics, like Cole mentioned with the best Royals teams of our lifetime, just doing those small things, right? That goes such a long way in baseball, and it's fun to watch at times too.
But K-State was also, another thing that just bugged me the most was K-State was definitely inconsistent at taking advantage of, no out walks, leadoff walks, things like that, and bringing guys around. That, it was pretty inconsistent. It came less likely to happen in the second half of the season after K-State had a great start in the non-con, had a great start in Big 12 play. K-State didn't just string the hits together. I brought that up earlier. Look, that's a monster key when it comes to having the success of making it to a regional and doing more than just winning a game and making it to a super regional. That's obviously the difference is timely hits. Big, timely, clutch hits was very few and far between last season.
And another thing to add to that is the timely hitting. Can it come outside of Toynton Family Stadium? They were 18-3 at home last year, 7-19 on the road. So if they can kind of take the clutch factor, the consistency factor on the road, that would go a long ways for the team again this year.
Yep, Cole, K-State has to win on the road. That's no doubt about that. They've put together another schedule that is going to be a big test. And, of course, K-State playing their first, 9 on the road before they come to Toynton Family Stadium.
That was a look at K-State baseball ahead of the 2026 season from Mitch and Toby on the offensive side. And a couple of reminders for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Let's go over the times. The pregames for those 3 games at Iowa. This is not at Iowa, but playing Iowa at the MLB Desert Invitational. That'll be 1:30 pregame on Friday with first pitch at around 2. Then the Yukon, this is on Saturday, 5:30 pregame, 6 o'clock first pitch. And then on Sunday, 12 o'clock pregame, 12:30 first pitch with that 4-game series because they have one more against Air Force on Monday as well. How much time we got left on the clock over there, Mitch?
6:40, and it's in the fourth quarter, and it's a 22-point lead for the Manhattan Girls JV. So we've had a bunch of whistles. So I got a feeling we're going to be a little bit delayed on pregame, but I don't think we'll have to wait till 6 o'clock to get started.
Well, with that, we're going to take our first break of hour number 2, and when we come back, it's been a lot of cloudy skies for K-State men's basketball over not only the last couple of weeks, not only the last couple of months, but really the last 2 years. So what Toby wanted to do, and I'm right there with him, is I want to have some positivity. So we're going to look back on some of our favorite wins from our lifetimes. Mitch, it might turn into a bit of a campfire story as he takes us through some of the ones he's been around and maybe was a little bit more cognizant of some of these wins than Toby and I were. So we'll go over some of the most memorable K-State basketball wins of our lifetimes when we come back. You're listening to The Game on News Radio KMAN.
You're in the game on News Radio KMAN.
At Stormontville Health, our patients are our neighbors and our communities are home.
We invest in your health and our community by bringing high-quality healthcare closer to home. From our Wamego Clinic to our new campus in Manhattan and the Flint Hills Hospital in Junction City. Our partnerships with organizations like the Mayo Clinic and the Children's Miracle Network bring top-notch expertise to our region. We take pride in local collaboration to stay connected to our communities. Visit stormontvale.org.
Stormontville Health, high-quality care closer to home.
At ESB Financial, we think it makes sense to pay you. That's right, get paid 5.04% annual percentage yield on balances up to $20,000 with our free Kasasa Cash checking account. We'll even refund your ATM fees nationwide, and the best part is there's no monthly service charges or minimum balances to keep. All you have to do to earn your rewards are a few simple things each month. The best part? These things make banking easier. Visit esbfinancial.com to learn more. Special terms may apply. ESB Financial, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Spice up your event with Qdoba Catering. Our burrito bowls, nachos, and salads will taste oh so delicioso with juicy smoked brisket and adobo marinated grilled chicken. Fresh fajita veggies and hand-smashed guac will add a burst of flavor to your meal. Place your order today. Qdoba, united by flavor.
Be my BOGO for Valentine's Day. A Qdoba Rewards member exclusive. Buy one, get one free with the purchase of an entree and a drink. Must have Qdoba Rewards. Get the app today.
In Manhattan, building community means more than bricks and beams. It means innovation and partnership. At McCown Gordon Construction, we deliver feature-focused solutions to projects that shape our region. From advanced research labs to vibrant education, healthcare, and community hubs. We're not just building projects, we're building the future of the Flint Hills with unmatched customer experience and value-driven strategies. We're building for tomorrow. Visit kansas.mccown-gordon.com.
Westwood One Sports presents this special update on the 2026 Winter Games. The U.S. won 5 medals today. A silver for Alex Hall in freestyle skiing, the slopestyle event. He won gold 4 years ago. A bronze medal for the alpine skiing team of Jackie Wiles and Paula Molson, although in that combined event, a very disappointing 4th place finish for the team everyone expected to win the gold, Breezy Johnson and Michaela Schifrin. Just the 3rd ever U.S. medal in an individual luge event. Ashley Farquharson, a bronze in the women's singles. Although they lost the gold medal game to Sweden 6-5, the U.S. took silver in the mixed event in just the 2nd U.S. medal ever in curling. And Ben Ogden won silver in cross-country skiing, just the 2nd medal ever won in that sport. The gold went to Norway's Johannes Hosfets Klobo, and for him, that's 2 down, 4 to go. Got a chance to win 6 gold medals. John Stashower, Westwood One Sports.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
What makes you so different than the rest of us?
We ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Tell me more.
Our investment counselors focus on service over sales, prioritizing clients' needs.
How do you make money?
We don't sell any commission-based products. We have a simple management fee based on the value of our client's portfolio. So we do better when our clients do better.
What about client portfolios?
We get to know each client, their finances, family, health, lifestyle, and more, and then we tailor a portfolio based on their specific goals and needs.
Your clients really come first then, huh?
Yes, we make them a top priority. Our goal is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement.
Wow, maybe we are different.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
I'm Cole Beschendorf with the Game Sports Update brought to you by Bottle Cap Sports Bar. K-State women's basketball ends a quick 2-game homestand tonight as the Wildcats host former K-State assistant J.C. Hoyt and the Oklahoma State Cowgirls. K-State is coming off a 77-52 win over BYU and arguably its most complete game of the season. On the other hand, the Cowgirls are the #1 scoring team in the Big 12 at 85 points per game, featuring 6 different players averaging double figures in scoring, led by Micah Gray at 15.1 points per game. Tonight's tip at 6:30 with pregame at 6 on Sunny 102.5. Manhattan High Hoops will play their second of a 3-game homestand in league play tonight, welcoming Washburn Earl to MHK for the first meeting between the two teams this season. It's a huge game on the girls' side for a top 10 meeting based on the most recent KBCA rankings, as Washburn Earl slotted in at number 10 and Manhattan at number 8. The Lady Indians are trying to stop a 19-game losing streak to the Junior Blues, who have been among the most consistent programs over the last decade. On the boys' side, Manhattan will look to end a 2-game losing streak following a heartbreaker on Friday in their first Centennial League loss in overtime to Emporia and a road loss to Mays on Saturday. Mitch Fortner will have pregame at approximately 5:45, tip at around 6 on News Radio KMAN. So I texted Toby earlier today and I said, well, what do you want to go over today? Well, is there any K-State topics that you want to discuss? You know, the state of K-State basketball. He is the K-State basketball beat writer for the Manhattan Mercury, of course. And he said, let's try to steer away from complaining, because that's what, and I think rightfully, fairly so, has been happening for K-State basketball for the last, month, and I again mentioned it, a couple of weeks, couple months, couple of years really for the state of the men's basketball program. So he threw out, let's reminisce. We saw a really good basketball game last night between Arizona and Kansas as KU beat a number 1 team at home for the first time since the 50s. They haven't really played too many of them, I don't think. It was the first time they've ever played a number 1 team at home under Bill Self. But wanted to go over some of the best games for K-State in our lifetime. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Toby. I'm going to put him on the spot. This was your idea, Toby. So I'm going to start with you. What is, when you think about the best K-State games of your lifetime, where do you go to first? What's the first game that pops into your head?
Yeah, by all means, I'm not dodging any of the Super Bowl claims and whatever KU fans want to say out. The first two that come to mind for me are Jerome Tang's first win, because that was my freshman year as a student. That was a special experience to be able to storm the court and just beat KU. They hadn't beaten KU in a few years at Bramlage. So to be able to do that my first year at K-State and then storm the court, that was just a special moment I'll never forget. And that Keontae Johnson, Marquise Noel, that was just a special team. And obviously the next few years after that haven't been as special under Jerome Tang, but I'll still forever cherish that year that I got as a freshman and to experience that game. And then another one, I was lucky enough to be in the building for the windmill dunk with, even though I wasn't a student yet or even really close. I think I was just starting high school when Cartier Jara put down the windmill dunk and sealed a win at Bramlage. I guess that would have been the last win before. I believe, Mitch, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but was that the last win for K-State and Bramlage, the one with the windmill dunk? Was that
for Bruce?
That was, and then Tang's first year, that was the next?
Yes.
Okay.
Because there were 2 years there of just terrible basketball, right. Including the COVID year, and then Tang comes in.
So those would be my first two that come to mind, just because special experiences, was able to be there in person. But kind of an underrated one that comes to mind for me is when K-State upset number 4 Oklahoma, the Barry Brown, Dean Wade led Kansas State Wildcats get the job done at Bramlage against number 4 Oklahoma, and they handed it to them. It was 87-69. And this was against Trae Young. Trae Young was a freshman, obviously. Now he's great in the NBA. But he was frustrated. K-State, Barry Brown locked him down. He was forced into a career-high turnovers in that game. And, man, Bruce Weber said after the game, Barry did everything. He's taken his game to another level. And Dean Wade had 21 points. Barry Brown had 24. That was just a special game for K-State to really have a statement against a really star freshman at the time in Trae Young, and really just frustrate him and then just dominate the number 4 Sooners.
Mitch, I'll go to you next.
By the way, the JV game just ended.
Okay, that is good to know. Let us know when we have 20 minutes up on that clock and we can get you set for a pregame. I'm going to go to you next. You obviously have experienced a few more K-State games in person than both Toby and I, and have just experienced more life than Toby and I, and have seen a lot more K-State basketball. What are some of the ones that stick out, maybe from – I don't want to say your era, but like your era, like the 2000s
call me old, that's fine.
In the early 2010s. What are some that stick out?
So I'm going to give you a couple here. If I were to give you one from if you want to call it my era, which I don't, I'm only 35. There's a lot of bad basketball in that era, to be honest with you. Do these have to be games I saw in person?
No, not necessarily.
Is that, well, I will give you, though, still my favorite games I've ever seen in person. For the men's side, it was the Sweet 16 game against Michigan State in Madison Square Garden. That's one of the greatest games I've ever seen. Marquise Noel, it's the ankle game. He has 19 assists in the game, and that's the one that went to overtime. But I will tell you, on the women's side, I think it still stands as the greatest basketball game I've ever seen in person. It's when Caitlin Clark in Iowa came to Manhattan in 2022. And Caitlin Clark had herself an okay game, but it was coming off the bench. Do you remember a player by the name of Sarah Shamatsi? She played one season. She was from France. She was a 25% three-point shooter. This was kind of the year that Serena Sundell, Gabby Gregory, they were born. Sarah Shamatsi goes 6 of 10 from 3. 6 of 10 off the bench, and completely outplayed Caitlin Clark. But also Gabby Gregory did a great job defensively. Serena goes off for 24. Gabby had 24, and it came down to the final possession. Number 4, Iowa comes in. This was the second game of a basketball doubleheader, and K-State won that game 84-83. That was the coming out party for what we knew as one of the greatest runs in K-State women's basketball history with Serena, the Glenn twins. And by the way, Aoka Lee didn't play in this game. Taylor Lauterbach was a starter in that game. K-State had two starters that didn't score in this game. That was an incredible upset. I mean, nobody was beating Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark has lost to only one team twice in her entire career, and that was K-State. And it started with a road trip in game number 3 of the year inside of Bramlage Coliseum. That still maybe stands of certainly as a women's game, one of the greatest games I've ever seen in my life. That was an insane win, and I'll never forget it.
My random nugget from that game, can I cut in here, Toby, is I called that game for Wildcat 91.9. That was, we did the doubleheader. It was actually another KMAN employee, and why am I blanking on his name right now? This is bad. The singer who is here for KMAN. Yes, Colby Van Camp. My goodness, bad miss by me. But called that game and called the doubleheader with him, and so got to watch that one in person. A random niche one that I have is the Tyler Perry year, the Villanova game. I was also on the call for that one, and that's when he hit the step back 3 to give K-State the lead late. That one always sticks in my memory as one that I'm super fond of for the personal reason, but also was a fun game for K-State.
By the way, we got the clock rolling. We got about 3 or 4 minutes away from pregame coverage. So if you want to give your games there, Cole.
Those the Villanova one was my game. I don't want to, Toby, I cut you off. What were you about to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say, to add to Mitch's point about the women's basketball win over Ira, the Caitlin Clark-led Iowa roster, and Jeff Mitty's talked about this, the lasting impact of that game, too, because he feels like K-State got a recruiting boost off of the Caitlin Clark effect, having beat her twice. That helped them get people in the transfer portal like Tamira Poindexter, helped them recruit some of the big names that they'd gotten recently.
How about Maddie Vickery, who's going to join K-State in 2027? She's out with a knee injury, but here with Washburn Rural, that's going to be an incredible add for K-State here in the next couple of years.
Yeah, so just the lasting impact of that game, I think, is another point, a talking point to why that would be one of the best K-State basketball wins in recent memory.
And with that, we can wrap up the show with a little bit of Ask Us Anything. And with the Super Bowl taking place this last Sunday, I wanted to see what's the first Super Bowl that you guys remember watching as a kid?
Well, it was the Janet Jackson boob game. Oh, no, I'll go back further than that. It was Terrell Davis. God, was that did he go off against the Packers?
The Packers, yes.
Yeah, it was when he won the MVP.
Yep.
That is the first one that I can personally remember watching when the Broncos went back-to-back in the 90s.
So that would have been like 98, 97?
I think so. It was against the Packers and the Falcons. It was John Elway played his last game, winning a Super Bowl.
For me, it would be 2011 Packers versus Steelers. Another Packers one, Packers versus Steelers. I remember this one mainly for the fact we had the little Super Bowl party where they had a giveaway like Super Bowl bingo. You win your prizes, and I got this little Chiefs doll that I called Matt Castle, and that's my claim to not being a bandwagon. I had a little Chiefs plush that I called Matt Castle, so that's my claim to not being a bandwagon.
The first one that I remember is the 2007-8 season with the undefeated Patriots and the Eli Manning-led Giants. I don't remember anything from the game, but I remember watching it at my uncle's house. And then actually the next one is the other Giants-Patriots game 4 years later. And you mentioned remembering it because of the party, Toby. That's the same reason I remember mine, because they had some fantastic food at that party. I'll remember that one forever. Played a lot of foosball that night, too, if I recall correctly.
I've seen also a lot of bad Super Bowls in my day. If you want to talk about bad Super Bowls, I've skipped a few. I didn't really think the Super Bowl Sunday, the Super Bowl 60 was really that bad. I just appreciate defense more than most. I love good defense.
And there was plenty of that on Sunday.
We all had the feeling, right, that Seattle was going to step up and just be dogs. That, you know, the dark side was going to just pummel Drake May and the Patriots, and that's exactly what happened, and I can appreciate the hell out of it.
Especially the first half. I mean, it was pretty back and forth in terms of both defenses were throwing haymakers at the opposing teams, and the Seahawks just came out on top because their offense finally got a little bit going, and Drake May had a stinker. I mean, that's what happened. Boiled it down to that.
By the way, do you feel like – what do you think about, like, when it came down to the quarterbacks and their experience that they have? Drake May's in his second year of the NFL. Like, do you feel like that played a part of it? Because I know the pressure was coming, but – there was a lot of bad tosses also.
I think you could certainly make that argument. You could also go back to, the whole schedule thing where the Patriots played the easiest schedule in like the 21st century. And then Sam Darnold, he hasn't played a ton of games in his NFL career, but he's seen a lot of NFL defenses, a couple of years with some terrible franchises. He's experienced a lot overall. He's spent some time in the Kyle Shanahan 49ers offense for a year. And then he's grown through playing some big-time games with the Vikings where he came up short. So I think the experience, he just knew how to not cough up the ball, I think, in big spots. And that's really all that Seattle defense needed, because that Seattle defense is the real deal, and they controlled that game all the way through. So I think it probably did play a part of it.
Well, we got Washburn Rural, Manhattan High coming up next, Cole. So you'll be hearing from me in a little bit. We got two major games coming up, including a ranked matchup up next.
Should be a couple of fun ones there at MHS. I want to thank Mitch and Toby for helping bailing me out at Manhattan High as they get ready for Manhattan and Washburn Rural. We'll get you a weather and then send you right back out live to Mitch. We got a full 2 hours tomorrow. Also, Power Cat game day between K-State and Cincinnati. That game is at 8. Mitch has got Power Cat game day tomorrow at 6. For Mitch, for Toby, I'm Cole. We'll see you tomorrow.
News Radio KMAN weather.
Right now in Manhattan, 52 degrees with partly cloudy skies. Wind gusting out of the north as high as 20 miles an hour, pretty steadily at around 10. Tonight, mostly clear in a low around 29. Moving into tomorrow, mostly sunny.
The following is a presentation of News Radio 1350 KMAN. The Tribe plays here.
Manhattan High Sports on News Radio KMAN is powered by McCain Auditorium.